Thought power, its physics and its philosophy. Thought excels light in speed. While light travels at the rate of 186,000 miles per second, thoughts virtually travel in no time. Thought is finer than ether, the medium of electricity. In broadcasting, a singer sings beautiful songs at Calcutta. You can hear them nicely through the radio set in your own house at Delhi. All messages are received through the wireless. Even so, your mind is like a wireless machine. A saint with peace, poise, harmony, and spiritual waves sends out into the world thoughts of harmony and peace. They travel with lightning speed in all directions and enter the minds of persons and produce in them also similar thoughts of harmony and peace. Whereas a worldly man whose mind is full of jealousy, revenge, and hatred sends out discordant thoughts which enter the minds of thousands and stir in the similar thoughts of hatred and discord. The medium through which thoughts travel. If we throw a piece of stone in a tank or a pool of water, it will produce a succession of concentric waves traveling all around from the affected place. The light of a candle will similarly give rise to waves of ethereal vibrations traveling in all directions from the candle. In the same manner, when a thought, whether good or evil, crosses the mind of a person, it gives rise to vibrations in the manas or mental atmosphere, which travel far and wide in all directions. What is the possible medium through which thoughts can travel from one mind to another? The best possible explanation is that manas or mind substance fills all space like ether, and it serves as the vehicle for thoughts, as prana is the vehicle for feeling, as ether is the vehicle for heat, light, and electricity, and as air is the vehicle for sound. The ether of space registers thoughts. You can move the world through thought force. Thought has great power. It can be transmitted from one man to another man. The powerful thoughts of great sages and rishis of yore are still recorded in the Akashic records. Yogins who have clairvoyant vision can perceive those thought images. They can read them. You are surrounded by an ocean of thought. You are floating in the ocean of thought. You are absorbing certain thoughts and repelling some in the thought world. Everyone has his own thought world. Thoughts are living things. Thoughts are living things. A thought is as much solid as a piece of stone. We may cease to be, but our thoughts can never die. Every change in thought is accompanied by vibration of its matter, mental. Thought as force needs a special kind of subtle matter in its working. The stronger the thoughts, the earlier the fructification. Thought is focused and given a particular direction, and in the degree that thought is thus focused and given direction, it is effective in the work it is sent out to accomplish. Thoughts are finer forces. Thought is a finer force. This is supplied to us by food. If you read Chandogya Upanishad, the dialogue between Uddalaka and Svetaketu, you will understand this point well. If the food is pure, thought also becomes pure. He who has pure thoughts speaks very powerfully and produces deep impression on the minds of the hearers by his speech. He influences thousands of persons through his pure thoughts. A pure thought is sharper than the edge of a razor. Entertain always pure, sublime thoughts. Thought culture is an exact science. Thoughts as wireless messages. Those who harbor thoughts of hatred, jealousy, revenge, and malice are verily very dangerous persons. They cause unrest and ill will amongst men. Their thoughts and feelings are like wireless messages broadcast in ether and are received by those whose minds respond to such vibrations. Thought moves with tremendous velocity. Those who entertain sublime and pious thoughts help others who are in their vicinity and at a distance also. Thoughts are tremendous powers. Thought has got tremendous power. Thought can heal diseases. Thoughts can transform the mentality of persons. Thought can do anything. It can work wonders. The velocity of thought is unimaginable. Thought is a dynamic force. It is caused by the vibrations of psychic prana or sukshma prana on the mental substance. It is a force like gravitation, cohesion, or repulsion. Thought travels or moves. Thought waves and thought transference. What is this world after all? It is nothing but the materialization of the thought forms of Hiranyagarbha or God. You have got waves of heat and light and electricity in science. There are also thought waves in yoga. Thought has tremendous power. Everybody is experiencing the power of thought unconsciously to a greater or lesser degree. Great yogins like Jnanadev, Bhartrihari and Patanjali used to send and receive messages to and from distant persons through mind telepathy, mental radio, and thought transference. Telepathy was the first wireless telegraph and telephone service ever known to the world. Just as you take physical exercises, play games such as tennis and cricket in order to maintain physical health, you will have to maintain mental health by radiating the right thought waves, by taking sattvic food, mental recreation of an innocent and harmless nature, change of mood, relaxation of mind by entertaining good, ennobling and sublime thoughts, and by cultivating the habit of cheerfulness. Marvels of thought vibrations. Every thought that you send out is a vibration which never perishes. It goes on vibrating every particle of the universe, and if your thoughts are noble, holy, and forcible, they set in vibration every sympathetic mind. Unconsciously, all people who are like you take the thought you have projected, and in accordance with the capacity that they have, they send out similar thoughts. The result is that, without your knowledge of the consequences of your own work, you will be setting in motion great forces which will work together and put down the lowly and mean thoughts generated by the selfish and the wicked. Diversity of thought vibrations. Every man has his own mental world, his own mode of thinking, his own ways of understanding things, and his own ways of acting. Just as the face and voice of every man differ from those of another man, the mode of thinking and understanding also differs. That is the reason why misunderstanding easily occurs between friends. One is not able to understand rightly the views of another. Hence friction, rupture, and quarrel occur within a minute, even amongst fast friends. The friendship does not last long. One should be in tune with the mental vibrations or thought vibrations of another. Then only can one easily understand another. Lustful thoughts, thoughts of hatred, jealousy, and selfishness produce distorted images in the mind and cause clouding of understanding, perversion of intellect, loss of memory, and confusion in the mind. The cell theory and the thoughts. A cell is a mass of protoplasm with a nucleus. It is endowed with intelligence. Some cells secrete while some cells excrete. The cells of the testes secrete semen. The cells of the kidneys excrete urine. Some cells act the part of a soldier. They defend the body from the inroads or attacks of foreign poisonous matter and germs. They digest and throw them out. Some cells carry food materials to the tissues and organs. The cells perform their work without your conscious volition. Their activities are controlled by the sympathetic nervous system. They are in direct communion with the mind and the brain. Every impulse of the mind, every thought, is conveyed to the cells. They are greatly influenced by the varying conditions or states of the mind. If there are confusion, depression, and other negative emotions and thoughts in the mind, they are telegraphically transmitted through the nerves to every cell in the body. The soldier cells become panic-stricken. They are weakened. They are not able to perform their function properly. They become inefficient. Some people are extremely body-conscious and possess no idea of the self. They live irregular, indisciplined lives and fill their stomachs with sweets, pastries, and so on. There is no rest for the digestive and the eliminating organs. They suffer from physical weakness and diseases. The atoms, molecules, and cells in their bodies produce discordant or inharmonious vibrations. They have no hope, confidence, faith, serenity, and cheerfulness. They are unhappy. The life force is not operating properly. Their vitality is at a low ebb. Their mind is filled with fear, despair, worry, and anxiety. Primal thought and modern science. Thought is the greatest force on earth. Thought is the most powerful weapon in the armor of a yogi. Constructive thought transforms, renews, and builds. The far-reaching possibilities of this force were most accurately developed to perfection by the ancients and put to the highest possible use. For thought is the primal force at the origin and back of all creation. The genesis of the entire phenomenal creation is given as a single thought that arose in the cosmic mind. The world is the primal idea made manifest. This first thought became manifest as a vibration issuing from the eternal stillness of the divine essence. This is the reference, in classic terminology, to the Icha, desire of the Hiranyagarbha, cosmic soul, that originates as a spandana or vibration. This vibration is nothing like the rapid oscillation to and fro of physical particles, but is something infinitely subtle, so subtle as to be even inconceivable to the normal mind. But this has made it clear that all forces are ultimately resolvable into a state of pure vibration. Modern science also has newly arrived at this conclusion after its prolonged researches in external physical nature. Radium and the rare yogi. Radium is a rare commodity. Yogins who have controlled their thoughts are also very rare in this world, like radium. Just as sweet perfume continuously emanates from an incense stick, so also divine perfume and divine effulgence, magnetic Brahmic aura, radiate from a yogi who has controlled his thoughts and who is constantly dwelling on Brahman or the infinite. The effulgence and perfume of his face is Brahma Varchas. When you hold in your hand a bouquet made of jasmine, rose, and champaka flowers, the sweet perfume pervades the whole hall and tickles all alike. Even so, the perfume or fame and reputation, yasas and kirti, of a yogi who has controlled his thoughts spreads far and wide. He becomes a cosmic force. Thought, its weight, size, and shape. Every thought has got weight, shape, size, form, color, quality, and power. A yogi can see all these thoughts directly with his inner yogic eye. Thoughts are like things. Just as you hand over an orange to your friend and take it back, so also you can give a useful, powerful thought to your friend and also take it back. Thought is a great force. It moves, it creates. You can work wonders with the power of thought. You must know the right technique of handling and manipulating a thought. Thought, its form, its name and color. Suppose your mind is rendered perfectly calm, entirely without thoughts. Nevertheless, as soon as thought begins to rise, it will immediately take name and form. Every thought has a certain name and a certain form. Thus you find that every idea that man has or can have must be connected with a certain word as its counterpart. Form is the grosser and name the finer state of a single manifesting power called thought. But these three are one. Wherever there is one, the other two also are there. Wherever name is, there are form and thought. A spiritual thought has yellow color. A thought charged with anger and hatred is of a dark red color. A selfish thought has a brown color, and so on. Thought, its power, workings, and uses. Thought is a vital, living, dynamic power, the most vital, subtle, and irresistible force existing in the universe. Through the instrumentality of thought, you acquire creative power. Thought passes from one man to another. It influences people. A man of powerful thought can influence readily people of weak thoughts. There are nowadays numerous books on thought culture, thought power, thought dynamics. A study of them will give you a comprehensive understanding of thought, its power, its workings, and usefulness. We live in a boundless world of thoughts. Thought alone is the whole world. The great pains, the old age, death, and the great sin, earth, water, fire, air, ether. Thought binds a man. He who has controlled his thoughts is a veritable god on this earth. You live in a world of thoughts. First is thought. Then there is the expression of that thought through the organ of speech. Thought and language are intimately connected. Thoughts of anger, bitterness, and malice injure others. If the mind, which is the cause of all thoughts, vanishes, the external objects will disappear. Thoughts are things. Sound, touch, form, taste, and odor, the five sheaths, the waking, the dreaming, and deep sleep states, all these are the products of mind. Sankalpa, passion, anger, bondage, time know them to be the result of mind. Mind is the king of the indriyas or senses. Thought is the root of all mental process. The thoughts that we perceive all round us are only the mind in form or substance. Thought creates, thought destroys. Bitterness and sweetness do not lie in the objects, but they are in the mind, in the subject, in thinking. They are created by thought. Through the play of the mind or thought upon objects, proximity appears to be a great distance and vice versa. All objects in this world are unconnected. They are connected and associated together only by thought, by the imagination of your mind. It is the mind that gives color, shape, qualities to the objects. Mind assumes the shape of any object it intensely thinks upon. Friend and enemy, virtue and vice, are in the mind only. Every man creates a world of good and evil, pleasure and pain, out of his own imagination only. Good and evil, pleasure and pain do not proceed from objects. These belong to the attitude of your mind. There is nothing good nor pleasant in this world. Your imagination makes it so. Thoughts, electricity, and philosophy. Thoughts are giant powers. They are more powerful than electricity. They control your life, mold your character, and shape your destiny. Mark how one thought expands into many thoughts within a short time. Suppose you get an idea to set up a tea party for your friends. The one thought of tea invites instantaneously the thoughts of sugar, milk, teacups, tables, chairs, tablecloth, napkins, spoons, cakes, biscuits, etc. So this world is nothing but the expansion of thoughts. The expansion of thoughts of the mind towards the objects is bondage, and the renunciation of thoughts is liberation. You must be very watchful in nipping the thoughts in the bud. Only then will you be really happy. Mind tricks and plays. You must understand its nature, ways, and habits. Then only can you control it very easily. The world's most extraordinary book of practical philosophical idealism of India is Yoga Vasishta. The gist of this work is this: the non-dual Brahman or the immortal soul alone exists. This universe as universe is not. Knowledge of the self alone will free one from this round of births and deaths. Extinction of thoughts and vasanas is moksha. Expansion of mind alone is sankalpa. Sankalpa or thought, through its power of differentiation, generates this universe. This world is a play of the mind. This world does not exist in the three periods of time. Extinction of sankalpas is moksha. Annihilate this little I, vasanas, sankalpas, thoughts, meditate on the self, and become a jivan mukta. Outer world pre-exists in the thoughts. Every thought has an image. A table is a mental image plus some external thing. Whatever you see outside has its counterpart in the mind. The pupil is a small round thing in the eye. Retina is a small structure. How is it that the image of a big mountain seen through a small aperture or structure cast on the mind? This is a marvel of marvels. The image of a mountain already exists in the mind. The mind is like a vast sheet of canvas that contains all the pictures of the objects seen outside. World, a projection of thought. Careful reflection will show that the entire universe is in reality the projection of the human mind, manomatram jagat. Purification and control of the mind is the central aim of all yogas. Mind in itself is but a record of impressions that keep expressing ceaselessly as impulses and thoughts. The mind is what it does. Thought impels you to action. Activity creates fresh impressions in the mind stuff. Yoga strikes at the very root of this vicious circle by a method of effectively inhibiting the functions of the mind. Yoga checks, controls, and stops the root function of the mind, i.e., thought. When thought is transcended, intuition functions and self-knowledge supervenes. Thought has the potency of creating or undoing the world in the twinkling of an eye. Mind creates the world according to its own sankalpa or thought. It is the mind that creates this universe, manomatram jagat, manakalpitam jagat. Through the play of the mind, a kalpa is reckoned by it as a moment and vice versa. Like a dream generating another dream in it, the mind having no visible form generates existent visibles. Thoughts, world, and the timeless reality. It is the mind that is the root cause of the tree of samsara with its thousands of shoots, branches, tender leaves, and fruits. If you annihilate thoughts, you can destroy the tree of samsara at once. Destroy the thoughts as soon as they arise. The root will dry up through the annihilation of thoughts, and the tree of samsara will wither soon. This demands considerable patience and perseverance. You will be bathed in the ocean of bliss when all thoughts are extirpated. This state is indescribable. You will have to feel it yourself. Just as the fire is absorbed into its source when the fuel is burnt out, so also, the mind is absorbed into its source, the Atman, when all sankalpas or thoughts are annihilated. Then one attains Kaivalya, the experience of the timeless reality, the state of absolute independence. If you like this content, please hit like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.